Hello, hello and welcome. Hello and welcome to our weekly chat with Wired and for Success. Wired for Success is being created by myself, Patience Modevi, and my colleague that you can see right here, Steve Costello. Steve is a qualified psychologist with interest in positive psychology, and myself, I am a mindset coach. We both are here to support parents, professionals, and young people. So this week, we want to talk to you about venting. Steve and I, we just look at everyday life things and we comment on it and we give you advice. And what we recently witnessed was a video where the young person wanted to speak to her mom without being criticized, without the advice, without anything, just wanted to vent and to talk. So today we want to talk about venting and how to support young people to be able to vent in a positive way. Steve, I'm going to let you go first and let us know what you think about this.
Well, I think it's complicated for sure, but that's not out. I'm going to answer that question, Patience. Thank you. So, venting, it's good to vent, clear the system. Sometimes it makes us feel better. Sometimes it might make us feel worse for a little while because we may have upset somebody because we had a good old vent, or the person we were venting at may have started judging us and accusing us of breaking some family value or other. There's all kinds of things that can get in the way when somebody starts to vent. My 16-year-old daughter had a good old vent at the weekend, big time. She had a meltdown. And initially, it was difficult. It was difficult to follow where she was coming from. It was difficult kind of not to judge because I had some experience. I couldn't really see where she was coming from, so it was hard to relate, and that became a bit frustrating. I'm a human being as well. I might be a psychologist with some understandings, but I'm also a human being, so I get frustrated too. And say, eventually, I started to hear a message, and the way I heard that message was simply like not judging. That sounds easy, doesn't it? I'm not going to judge. Simple. If only, because it is quite a complicated thing to do. We're taught from a very early age. We go to school, judgment, teachers judge students, even 4 or 5-year-olds are judged by the way they perform in class, the way they perform in peer groups, and so on and so forth. So we judge throughout our lives, and judging becomes a part of who we are. Therefore, shake that and say, I won't judge. It's quite difficult, it's quite challenging. It is something that we can learn to do by practicing mindfulness. I'm not going to go into that today because it's a big thing. So, how do we enable our own children, our young people, to vent and for them to vent in a safe, secure environment? How do we do it? When all we want to do is judge, perhaps wonder that their values are in the right place or not in the right place. Should their values be the same as ours? Personally, I think not. But what do you think, Patience?
Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. I think what you said was so right in terms of like the society and the way we've been conditioned to be. So we've been conditioned to fit into certain boxes, and once we're outside of that box, automatically the criticizing, the judging comes, and that's just human nature. However, what we can do, I think, for young people is making sure that they know at any time that they've got a safe space and they can come with anything that they want to vent about, and understand that even though, as a professional, as a parent, as ourselves, as coaches, we might have another perception to the one they have. It's still important for them to be able to have that trust between to build that trust, I will say, where they know that, I can come here and be able to talk, vent, whether it's good or not good, and be able to be just listened to. And I think that's what venting is about. Venting is not about a communication where there's a back and forth. It's just like one person just talking and another one listening. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely with that statement. It's beautiful. Venting is not about you. If I'm going to vent right now, it's entirely about me. It's about what's going on in my world. It's about me trying to clear the decks and to understand why I feel the way I feel. So the best way somebody can help me is to start listening. Not by applying their values, not by applying their life experience, although it is useful to share at some point. But during that venting process, what we really need to do is enable young people to say, this is how I feel, shout, 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 vent, vent, vent. Let them clear their personal air. And then maybe we can ask a couple of questions. Maybe we can look to see, what can we do to help? Let's not judge the way they vented. Let them do it. Let it be. It's not about me. It's about the person venting. I think that's the important thing. It's not something we should take personally. It's too easy to do that.
Yeah. Okay. And I think, and I completely agree. And I think one tip that I think if we can give here as well is to ask what else, or to ask how did that make you feel. Just by doing that, you are showing the person that you're actually listening to them, to the young people. You're actually listening to them, and you want to know more about how they felt, what's happened with them, and how it affected them, without, again, the you should do this or you should do that, or And I think those two questions, like, and what else, it makes them feel like they can talk more. And how did that make you feel? It makes them feel like you understand something happened. Therefore, you understand that they had a certain feeling about it, a certain reaction, and you just want to know. So it's bringing you more closer with that young person.
Yeah. Yeah. I think another thing that we need to think about is what I term, and other coaches use this as well, a break state. So, for example, young person has just had a good vent. They've said, they've got whatever it is off their chest. They've shouted out it. They've stamped their feet, maybe. So what do we do at the end? We don't keep on discussing it. We pause for a minute. We comment about that cool shirt that they're wearing, or the way they did their hair today. It doesn't matter what it is. It takes a few seconds. It's just a break the flow for a minute, and then go back into it. In other words, take a breath. A good example, I was having a disagreement on Sunday with my partner, and we went out for a mountain bike ride together. We don't get to ride together often, so we did. And it was like a very big steep hill. And just before the top, we were in this debate, and I said, stop. So I stopped my bike, stood with the bar, with my side of the bar. She did the same. We talked about it for a minute, and we got on riding. And it did it. We were both in the same place. We both understood what was being said, and we were okay about it. Whereas when we were trying to focus on this hill, keep climbing this hill, and having this debate, it really wasn't helpful. So we had a break. What we're doing. Took a moment, got back into it, understood it, and carried on riding, and everything was good. So that's a kind of a little bit of an obscure example, I guess. But taking it, just a short break is really important. What happens when an argument is fed more air. The more air it gets, the worse it becomes.
I think it's really important in that sense that you are not carrying that energy, you're not carrying that emotion, you kind of like giving it a break. It helps young people to actually realize like, oh, what am I saying? Oh, what's going on here? And then it helps young people to actually put order into all of this. If I can call it chaos, all of this chaos of emotion or mix of emotion, it helps them make sense of it. So often with young people, as a professional, as a parent, you don't have to necessarily go in. You don't have to act. You can just be there and be that person who's going to give them that kind of grounding effect where they're going to understand. So you can just lead, but you don't have to actually be into the situation. You can just be there and lead from afar. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think another thing to think about as well is I was thinking about working with groups of young people. Now, if I had, let's use the old saying, if I had £1 for every time a young person came and had a vent at about one or other of their parents, I would be quite wealthy based on that alone. But what's my role when that happens? It's not to take the side of the young person. It's not to take the side of the parents either. It's to hear what the young person is venting about and then enable them to develop a way to talk to the parents about whatever it may have been. So it's looking for solutions. It's not about taking sides. And that's what we do in groups. So we have a group of young people, and there'll always be somebody who's got a venting story to share. So we'll share it, we'll look at it, we'll share it with the whole group because the whole group benefits, shared response, shared feelings, and so on. And then once we've got a response, it's almost like having a tool in your back pocket. If this happens again, I know how I can think about it. I know what I can do to try to get people to understand me. Because venting is okay. That's the point. Venting is absolutely okay. I think we're out of time again, Patience. One day, 1 week, we will do this in 10 minutes. We're now 13.
And to be honest with you, there's a lot more where all of this came from. There's more information we want to give. There's more advice or tips we want to give you. If you are interested in doing more of it and having a more of an understanding into how to communicate with young people, you can reach us. Steve, I think, was going to put the details in a minute, but basically you can reach us at any point. We are on Facebook with Wired for Success group, and you can just contact us anytime, and we will make sure to create a space for you where we can come and support your professionals in schools, in youth centers, in projects, but also parents who need that extra support with their young people. I think that's it. I think that's it. This was a really a big topic. I think we could be here for longer, but thank you very much for being here with us. I don't know, Steve, if you want to add anything today.
No, big topic. So on. That's all I need to say. Great to be here as usual. Thank you, Patience.
Thank you, Steve. Well, you take care, guys, and we'll see you next week on Tuesday. Bye.
See you then. Bye.